The king of spoof movies' first attempt was a grand slam. Blazing Saddles, starring Cleavon Little, Gene Wilder, Harvey Korman, Slim Pickens, and Mel Brooks, who of course also directed and wrote the picture. Blazing Saddles makes fun of one of the biggest genres of film during the time it was made. Westerns were on their way out in the 70s as a predominant type of film, so the genre was ripe for a spoof. Does the comedy still hold up for an audience today? Can kids, or at least people, appreciate the social commentary the movie provides? What age should kids be introduced to the language and story in the film? Blazing Saddles, if released today, probably would have gotten a PG-13 rating instead of an R. Or maybe not, with its use of one word in particular. The movie, if made today, may not have been able to get away with using that word. But I do think the way it is used in the film makes a point. Mel Brooks recently talked about writing the script and getting Richard Pryor's opinion on its use. He asked Pryor if it was okay for him to say the word, and Pryor said, "You aren't saying the word, Mel. The bad guys are." Pryor actually has a credit for the screenplay on the movie and was originally cast to play the sheriff, but Warner Brothers was wary of using him in the role because of his legal situation. There is little other language to be concerned about in the film, other than the word I'm being so cryptic about. I think the use of the word is a good conversation starter to have with older children about its history and all the baggage behind it. When kids are introduced to the movie, it should be discussed as to why people don't use that word, or at least people of my pigment color. I think Blazing Saddles uses it to great effect and highlights the reason why it shouldn't be used. The scene with the old woman using it and then apologizing is a fantastic example of how well it is used in the film. Little else in the movie garners a nod as problematic for children. The action and violence are not a factor for letting younger kids watch. The ending fight sequence does have fist fighting, but it is so over the top it is no worse than any Saturday morning cartoon, or at least Saturday morning cartoons from my childhood. I love the Looney Tune gag Bart uses against the mongrel, and it makes me laugh every time I watch the movie. At every turn, Bart figures out a way to overcome his situation and make the best out of it. He beats the mongrel not by strength, but by smarts, and continually does this throughout the movie. He disproves many stereotypes along the way, or at least stereotypes during the time the movie was made. My biggest worry about introducing anyone to Blazing Saddles is if they're going to understand many of the jokes found in the film. The movie is a spoof on the Western genre, and the entire story is a gag on the typical types of plots shown in the classic Westerns of the 50s and 60s. Since Westerns aren't a popular genre of film today, many of the jokes poking fun at the cliches may fall flat for a modern audience. It might actually be worthwhile to introduce kids to other classic Western films and then show them Blazing Saddles, so they actually can get many of the jokes. It could be a barrier for enjoyment for people who haven't seen many Westerns. I do still think there is enough for the movie to be enjoyed by all though. People of any age can laugh at the classic campfire scene. What shouldn't be lost on any generation, and is still prevalent today, is the commentary the film has on social issues. I don't want to get political, but I'll simply say this. The country has come a long way with racial issues since the time the film was made. To deny this is to deny facts. We have an African American president, and many things have improved with racial issues since the 70s. On the flip side, to say there aren't still prevailing issues is also to deny facts. The United States has come a long way, but it still has a long way to go. This is one reason why the film should still be watched. The biting social commentary the film has should be examined. Even when this film was made, it would have been odd to see a black sheriff. It might still be odd to see in a few communities still today. This is one aspect of the movie that still holds up, and will continue to hold up. Hopefully though, this social commentary will be lost on later generations, and will actually have to be explained and researched to be understood. With all this being said, I think kids should be introduced to Blazing Saddles at an older age to grasp everything that is going on in the film. An older audience is needed to understand the historical context and apply it to current events. Yes, it is a silly Western spoof, but the film does have things to say. The fact that many of the Western jokes might be lost on a current audience is one reason I think that older kids, or just people in general, may get more out of the film. I think a person could be introduced to Blazing Saddles anywhere around 13 to 16 years old, depending on the kid. A fan of history or a fan of the Western genre may have more fun with the movie before others would. I love this movie, and it gets better with every viewing. The performances are great, and I'm excited to eventually introduce it to my two boys. When would you introduce your kids to Blazing Saddles? Do you think the spoof jokes could be lost on a modern audience? If you don't have kids, when was the first time you remember watching Blazing Saddles? Did you like it the first time you saw it? Comment and let me know. Like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching.